If you do this, your lettuce will be twice as big in a short time. You can start planting it in the field as early spring. Lettuce grows quickly and seems to have modest requirements. However, you might not always enjoy beautiful heads of lettuce. While frost doesn't harm it, something else can significantly limit its growth. Lettuce needs a lot of nitrogen, like all vegetables in the early growth stages. It also needs a lot of calcium. Therefore, it's a good idea to use eggshells for fertilizing lettuce. Crushed into a fine powder, eggshells can be sprinkled into the holes where you plant the lettuce. Eggshells are also useful for protecting lettuce from snails. A layer of crushed eggshells is an excellent deterrent for them, but there's another thing that fertilizes the soil and simultaneously protects the lettuce from snails. Wood ash. Just sprinkle wood ash between the lettuces. It will serve as a good fertilizer and a barrier against snails. With these methods, your lettuce will form beautiful heads and won't be eaten by snails. Add it to the seedlings. Just 1 tablespoon is enough. It contains potassium, phosphorus, and calcium. In addition to that, you'll find about 30 trace elements in its composition. It strengthens the seedlings, making them less susceptible to diseases. It provides essential nutrients. Additionally, it repels pests. It contains calcium, which ensures proper root growth. Thanks to this, the seedlings can absorb all the necessary nutrients from the soil. Phosphorus positively affects flowering and fruiting. Potassium improves the bushing of tomatoes and cucumbers. It strengthens resistance to diseases. All of this is contained in ordinary wood ash, so don't throw it away anymore. You can prepare an ideal fertilizer for seedlings from it. It is suitable for watering young tomato and cucumber seedlings. With one addition, it has even better properties. Pour 1 tablespoon of wood ash into a liter jar. Pour water over it and mix. It can be rainwater. Add 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Vinegar will increase the acidity of the solution. It will improve the absorption of nutrients from the ash. Leave it for about an hour. You will see it gassing. Bubbles will appear inside the jar. Stir and water the seedlings. Feed smaller seedlings with a syringe and water larger ones. Water the cucumbers with this. They will grow instantly. In the summer, you'll be collecting them by the bucketful. This simple fertilizer will make them grow like crazy. It will supply them with necessary nutrients. You'll quickly see the difference. The cucumbers will green up and start growing. Prepare a 1-liter jar and pour in some warm water, but not hot. Add 1 tablespoon of dried yeast to it. Stir the water. Then add 2 tablespoons of sugar. Stir again, cover the jar, and set it aside in a warm, dark place for 2 hours. After this time, prepare a 5-liter bucket with warm water. Pour the yeast water into it, and mix everything. This way, we'll get a yeast fertilizer concentrate. For daily watering of the cucumbers, it still needs to be diluted. Before you do that, water the cucumbers first with plain water. It's important to moisten the soil around the cucumbers well. Then use the jar and scoop out 1 liter of concentrated fertilizer. Pour it into a 10-liter bucket of warm water. This bucket will be enough to water about 10 cucumber seedlings. That's 1 liter of fertilizer per seedling. This way you can water the cucumbers even daily, if necessary. You'll supply the cucumbers with necessary nutrients and stimulate their growth. They'll fruit like never before. Add a tablespoon to each hole before planting tomatoes. Thanks to this, the tomatoes will be healthy and strong, and the fruits will be large and tasty like never before. Even the weakest tomato seedlings will thrive. Just 1 tablespoon of this powder is enough. This fertilizer poured into the hole for tomatoes will provide them with the necessary nutrients for growth. How to make it? Start by collecting eggshells. When you cook eggs or make scrambled eggs, save the eggshells. Leave the washed and clean ones to dry. Sometimes I crush them into smaller pieces earlier. It's easier to store them that way. They are perfect for tomatoes. Simply grind them into a fine powder. You can do this using a blender, but you can also use a coffee grinder. This powdery substance contains many minerals. Eggshells are primarily a source of calcium. Calcium is needed by tomatoes to fruit healthily. When planting tomatoes in the field, add a tablespoon of ground eggshells to each hole. 1 tablespoon per hole. You'll protect the tomatoes from diseases resulting from a lack of calcium or other minerals. An example is tomato fruit rot. just a bit of eggshells, and you'll avoid such problems. Water these seedlings. You'll manage to strengthen them before planting them in the field. You'll speed up the development of roots, shoots, and leaves. You'll fortify the young plants. They'll be more resistant to diseases and unfavorable weather conditions. To prepare it, you need a few products that you surely have at home. To start, about 10 grams of onion skins are enough. Transfer them to a jar and pour about a liter of hot but not boiling water over them. Close the jar and set it aside, preferably for 1 day in a warm place. The next day, strain the liquid through a sieve lined with gauze. This liquid alone is rich in many nutrients and minerals such as potassium, phosphorus, and magnesium. To this water, add 1 teaspoon of dried yeast and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Mix it and leave it for 2 hours. Yeast is a source of B group vitamins. It also contains magnesium, phosphorus, and potassium. Before watering the seedlings, the fertilizer should be diluted in 4 liters of water. Water the seedlings with the diluted fertilizer. You'll strengthen tomato seedlings even before planting them in the field. You can use this fertilizer once every 10 to 14 days. Even frail seedlings will become strong and healthy. Put a handful into the holes for the cucumbers. It's the best fertilizer for cucumbers right after planting. Thanks to it, cucumbers grow like crazy, and there's no end to the harvest. It's the best source of nitrogen. At different stages of growth, cucumbers need different fertilizers. At the beginning, they primarily need nitrogen. Nitrogen is essential for cucumbers right after planting in the ground. It's the most important component for cucumbers before they flower. If you haven't fertilized the soil for cucumbers, you can do it during planting. However, you'll need to dig a deeper hole for each cucumber. It should be deep enough to accommodate both the fertilizer and the cucumber seedling. The best and most natural source of nitrogen is chicken manure. It shouldn't be fresh manure. It should be well decomposed. Add some wood ash to the manure. Sprinkle in a handful of ash. Ash increases yields and promotes better growth of many vegetables, including cucumbers. Now, pour warm water over it. It can be rainwater or water left to stand from the tap. Wait until the water soaks in. Cover it with soil, and then plant the cucumbers. You'll provide the cucumbers with the best start for growth right after planting in the ground. They'll be strong, healthy, and start growing and fruiting faster. An old gardener revealed to me what to put in the hole for cucumbers. Thanks to this, I have extraordinary yields. I gather buckets of cucumbers shortly after planting them in the ground. How is this possible? Cucumbers need warmth and plenty of water to grow. You can provide them with suitable conditions right from the planting stage. The seedlings will be able to grow and develop better. Everyone knows that cucumbers grow best when it's warm. You can provide this warmth to cucumbers right from their roots. The method is so simple that it's hard to believe. If you have a lawn and mow the grass, keep it for the cucumbers. You can also pick it from the garden edge. Grass is incredibly valuable for growing cucumbers right from the planting stage. Thanks to it, cucumbers will have warmth right from their roots. Dig a sizable hole. Line it with the previously cut or picked grass. The whole secret lies in the fact that when grass decomposes, it emits warmth. So bury it in the ground where you're planting the cucumbers, and then plant the cucumber seedling on top of it. You can prepare the soil for sowing cucumbers in the same way. As the grass decomposes, it emits warmth, and thanks to this, cucumbers grow like crazy.